Good evening, and I welcome you to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. I am your regular host, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., the Chief Crusader Against Corruption here in Ghana. I am always delighted to come your way every Monday at this time, 8 p.m., just because it gives us, that is you and I, the opportunity to discuss matters of national interest and to also find a way of building a transformative country together. The future belongs to you, it belongs to me. We are still in the era where we've just moved from one government to another. And as I keep saying, governance is a serious business. We don't have much time to even waste any. And so it is important for us to always consistently be and serve as checks to those that we've elected, because whatever decision they take, they are decisions that will affect you and I. And that's why we need not take anything for granted. As always, you can get interactive with us using our WhatsApp line that you have on the screen. And today you are going to be my guest. So at the right time, I'm going to activate the phone lines for you to call in. But what we're going to do, as we always do, is that we'll be taking a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce to you the topic that we are going to discuss this evening. And as I indicated, at the right time, the phone lines will be activated. But even before then, you can still get interactive with us. Let me just give you a hint whilst you start sending in your messages, your comments, and your questions. Today is exactly 30 days when His Excellency John Mahama took over office. We are going to analyze and discuss what has been done so far. Indeed, he promised us 120 days, which means we still have 90 more days. But they say, we have 30 days already. And that is why it's important for us to ask ourselves whether this government is on the right track, comparing what he has done so far to his own 120 days policy and promises that he gave to us. Get interactive with us. We'll take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll zoom into the main conversation. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Royal Dazzle Event Center. With a lush and well-maintained lawn and garden, you are assured of the best serene and comfortable atmosphere to organize all your family and social events. Live the royal moments here with friends and family. The hosting capacity of 600 to 800 people makes Royal Dazzle the most versatile of places to host weddings, parties, funerals, conferences, concerts, and many more. Create your memories with us. Call us for inquiries on 055-814-8585 or 024-620-2144, or pass by and speak to any of our friendly staff. Locate us at My John, close to Zoom Lion headquarters. Royal Dazzle Event Center, creating memories.
Ghana, get ready to win big and live large with Mega Cash Lucky Box, the game where you could walk away with instant cash prizes. It's easy to play. Just dial *426*5# on all networks. Follow the prompt, pick a lucky box, and reveal your cash prize. It's that simple. Win massive, up to 500,000 Ghana cedis. Don't miss your chance. Players all over Ghana are winning now.
I won!
What are you waiting for? Dial *426*5# or visit www.megacashluckybox.com and play on our web portal. The minimum to play is 5 Ghana cedis. Your lucky box could be holding that big cash prize. Mega Cash Lucky Box. Dial *426*5# and win instant cash today. Don't wait. Remember, terms and conditions apply and is NLA approved on the Caritas Lottery platform.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it. naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. For bulk purchase, call 0596 273 546 or 0596 273 547. This advert is FDA approved.
Mensaka power jackpots ya zabomu bio. Eye chere wodo Mensaka. Me chere Mensaka Valentine's Day. Eye chere no do. Na ye rein in the bay. Change me the 14th February Valentine's Day. It's obey ye dey be chere no do. Zama ye na do. There chere wodo na cash ball side dey me raza. Power jackpot. Modern yan dey before mobile phone. Never dial *274*10 hash. Change bio. *274*10 hash. Enter draw na tickets Krubia 10 Ghana cedis. Into the more to tickets and now chances of winning a Susura nor call. Nay in a business boom gag. First prize in here 10,000 Ghana cedis. Meraza. And then 10,000 Ghana cedis. Now 6,000 order dona was spread in the bonus. Yours in Uber Shembia Subenya crash and how far. Any bema vase Buffet was an akada cash no confuse. Antibody in the Beshas. Now Bogum Bogum. Never Bogumusa. *274*10 hash. Now win in the big which will have one. Mensaka. Valentine's Day special easy. You busy dog. Now ya sena can cash account. Get no curfew. Mensaka. Chagum nezin big.
Thank you, and I welcome you back to your transformative program, Politics and Beyond. As I indicated, we are going to have a thorough assessment of what has been done so far under this current government led by His Excellency John Mahama. Just after winning elections, he communicated to us that he has a 120 days policies and plan for you and for me. Today, as we speak, we've done 30 days. And we are left with 90 more days. And that is why right from day one, I indicated that because governance is a serious business, we are not going to leave anything to chance. Agrobesa Nefi Anopa. I want us to have a conversation on what has been done so far and your views, your assessments, your comments as to whether or not the government is on the right track. Whether or not the 120 days promises that he gave to us, he is doing what he himself told us he's going to do. And again, whether or not what is happening so far is communicating any iota of hope in your life, in my life. Get interactive. Use the WhatsApp line on the screen. You can also engage with us on our social media platforms that we have also on the screen or will be exhibited on the screen as you have it now. And I promise you that you are my guest this evening. So at the right time, the phone lines will be activated for you to also express your views and your comments with me. There are a number of things that has been done so far, and I'm going to take you through them. At any given point in time, when my producers signaled me, I'll pause and then I'll give you a feed, a visual, a video of what was actually promised within this 120 days that we are expecting 90 more days to complete. So the first thing that seems to have been done now under the John Mahama-led administration is that there has been he has commenced discussions with key stakeholders to restore peace to Boko. It was one of the things that he promised us that he was going to do. He has constituted committee to set up the gold bar, a board, which has also been done. He promised us that he was going to do that. He has formed an 8-member education forum planning committee to submit reports and plan in 2 weeks. That has also been done. It was promised. He has formed the Economic Dialogue Planning Committee to plan and engage necessary stakeholders to revive the economy. Again, that has also been done. I mean, it was promised that he was going to do it within the 120 days. He has set up a tripartite committee to negotiate and determine minimum wage and base pay of public sector workers. I think that was done last week or so, and I'm actually yet to get the feedback as to what has come out of it. Issued directive through EPA for immediate halt of illegal mining activities in forest and water bodies. He has also reduced the University of Ghana residential facility fees from 3,000 to 2,500, and that was also promised. He has averted an imminent and orchestrated power crisis. And personally, I want to commend the president for doing this particular thing, because I am privy to the real situation that, was about taking all of us, by surprise. And indeed, I will want to believe that it was really orchestrated by the SWAL administration. But fortunately, it has been averted. And today we are not talking about anything called doomsday. It was actually a planned thing, He has reduced ministries from 30 to 23. And that is also something he promised that he was going to do. At a point, I actually thought that including the deputy ministers, we were going to go beyond 60. And I was thinking that that would have been the first failure. It is so great to know that he promised he was going to do 60. He promised he was going to reduce the ministries, and he has done that, and he deserves to be commended. The other thing that has been done within this 30 days is that he has presented formal requests to the IGP for investigations and reports on death during the 2020 and 2024 elections. And for me, it is also one thing that the affected families, I'm praying that we get to the end of it. But even if we do not, which I hope it won't be the case, we will be able to get somewhere with it. And I believe that the family will be at peace, knowing very well that there's someone who cares. All right, so we'll take a quick pause here. We'll go to the screen and then watch what was promised us. And right after the video, I'll come back for us to continue with it. Stay tuned.
In the first 120 days in office, we will hold a national economic dialogue to draw up a 4-year fiscal consolidation plan. We would rationalize taxes, abolishing, among others, the obnoxious e-levy.
I have the singular honor as the returning officer of the 2024 presidential election to declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the winner of the 2024 presidential election and the President-elect of the Republic of Ghana.
My brothers and sisters, it is with tremendous humility that I accept this clear mandate that you, the good people of Ghana, have given me to lead this great nation as your next president.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Asamparabo, 24-hour economy. For the Asamparabo.
Yeah, 1 month of our president, President John Mahama's in office. Oh, it's very good. It's very good. It's good that we have a change, and the whole Ghana is becoming green. Because the country now, for the 8 good years past, we are in a cage, like how the food Ghanaians in cage. As if I could, like our former MP, Kennedy Ajapon said, it, the Ghanaians in a cage. So we are in a cage true. So that very day, the Ghana become green.
Me who say, young papa no. Oyo jifu bi osun kon nipa ho, odwiri nipa ho. Esan so bi odwiri nipa ho no. Onu so oyo ade a ontia nipa fa ho di so. De ha no ma oka. Ni wa ho de ha na so aboa wo. Onti oni e fa ho di abanda no di otena ye fa ho di so because usuro.
His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama signed a social contract with the good people of Ghana to reset the damaged economy with an all-hands-on-deck approach, improving governance, restoring public trust in institutions, and improving people's living conditions are huge tasks for any government.
Jam is the hope we need. He's the hope. He's the hope for Mother Ghana.
His 120-day social contract encompasses 26 key initiatives. These include economic reforms, governance standards, prudent expenditure, justice and compensation, policy reviews including education, and the fight against corruption.
As for recovering any loot, it must be on top of the agenda of any government because corruption bites so hard. This work that I do, the fact that people amass so much wealth and deprive others, that is why we get the kinds of vulnerabilities we see. The link is so direct that if you don't deal with looted items, corruption, you are going nowhere. So we agree with Oral. The Attorney General's Department has specific instruction. I expect the Attorney General to make sure Oral keeps within its legal mandate. Okay, I disagree with people who say it's not constitutional. I disagree. I think that even here, people can come here and report that crimes have happened to them in their homes. Then we take it up and then we let it go to the police. So I don't see why a committee cannot do that kind of thing. We won't do what the police does, but we receive the information. Okay, so the most important thing is that Oral does not overstep its bounds. That will open it up to challenges. And the way the Ghanaian courts can be very active when it comes to these things because they will apply the law. Okay, so just don't overstep your bounds. Do what is necessary, give it to the institutions and let them work. And I believe that with somebody like Dominic Ayene, whom many of us know, we expect him to do a good job.
President Mahama admits there is no breathing space. A day after his inauguration, he held a crucial meeting with the African Development Bank.
Significant players in the global economy, key development partners. And as we speak, we are under an IMF program. So it is not possible to take over power and seek to do a few things regarding the economy and not engage these important stakeholders. So those meetings were intended to place the president's cards on the table, to indicate to them clearly what the direction would be, and have dialogue as to how the current IMF program can be tailored to meet the exigencies of the time and what accommodations can be made to ensure that the economy is brought back on track, because currently the economy is in pretty bad shape and very soon the figures will become apparent to all.
That same week also saw an order to the IGP to investigate election killings, termination of the appointments of all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, MMDCEs, and prompt actions that averted doomsday.
Through determined efforts, I can report that we have now averted the looming threat of power outages. And began delivering fuel to the thermal plants in the east in advance of the shutdown of the West African gas pipeline. And Honorable Jinapo, I want to congratulate you for working very hard.
We were basically sitting on a time bomb. The previous government had refused, or if you like, failed to meet important obligations regarding the purchase of fuel to fire thermal plants because of the imminent shutdown of the West African gas pipeline for routine maintenance. As far back as October, that maintenance ought to have been carried out. The government itself pleaded for time, a 4 months deferment to enable it to put its house in order and purchase for. Yet they were unable to do so. And because of that, it had led to some crisis. On the very first day that we took office, it became clear that we needed $200 million to be able to ensure that if the pipeline was shut down for 2 months consecutively, we will not sleep in darkness. So the president had to convene that meeting under the chairmanship of the chief of staff. And within a matter of hours, the outcome of the meeting produced results. As I speak to you, significant parcels of fuel have been brought into fire thermal plants. And so we have averted what would have been a debilitating energy crisis. And unless there's any major catastrophe, we should be able to weather the storm as far as that goes.
National security and safety are key on President Mahama's agenda. This pledge is tied to the implementation of the 24-hour economy policy, and he has the full support of the heads of security agencies who pledged full allegiance before his visit to Boku and Nalerigu on Tuesday, January 14th, 2025, exactly a week after his inauguration.
Mr. President, I want to assure you that we are going to continue with even greater zeal to ensure that we maintain the security and stability of this country. I want to assure you of our unflinching support and dedication, as I said, to duty, and make sure that we help you to achieve or realize your objective of resetting Ghana. Mr. President, once again, thank you very much for receiving us this morning. We are grateful, and we wish you the best. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
From the recent appointments that have emanated from the President's office, you can see clearly that even if there is an article of Parliament establishing a Ministry of National Security, this President, and he's going back to the original conceptualization of national security by having a coordinator and a few staff around him to, coordinate the functions of that office.
More women have found themselves in President Mahama's new government, which will operate with fewer ministries, a slash from 30 to 23.
He's pushing very, very hard to meet the commitments on gender involvement in his government. At the presidency, there are 48% women working here. Out of 27 people, 13 are women, which is unprecedented. It's quite high. At some point, by the end of the first 2 weeks of his government, there were 27% women representation in his government. That is a significant step forward, and he's pushing hard to meet the 30% quota. He has indicated that the remaining appointments will reflect that particular desire because he values the contribution of women. If you go to the Vice President's office, it is 60-40 in favor of women. There are 6 women as against 4 men. That is 60%. I don't think it has ever happened in our history. Indeed, the biggest testimony of all is the Vice President herself, who represents Ghanaian women in extraordinary ways, because it is the first time that a Ghanaian woman has ascended to that height in governance in our country. And it is a significant moment in our history that we should acknowledge.
Right from choosing Professor Nana Jane as his running mate, and Nana is quality, we know. I mean, there's no perfect human being, but she's quality. Because of my interest in women's empowerment, I am very happy to see that he's really working hard to include women in his appointments. The initial ones came and it was good, 28%. Then there was a whole list that had just one woman. It sort of dampened our spirit a bit. But then we saw that a number of CEOs were being appointed as women, his presidential staffers, the vice president's appointments, of her staffers and so on. And it's quite impressive. Okay, but we don't want it to remain just about appointments, though there are many more to go. We know that. We also want it to be about working on issues that enhance equality between women and men, actually the de facto and de jure.
42 ministers, including regional ministers, have so far been nominated.
As the ministers are approved by Parliament and as they are sworn in, I'll proceed to name deputy ministers for some of the ministries, which will bring the total ministers to 60, as I promised the people of Ghana.
I think the first month of Mama's appointment, I can see his consistency of what he says from campaign till now, that what he's going, the number of ministers he's going to have maintain, and then how he's going to run the country. You can see the setup that is on course.
I believe his appointment is one way to show that he's really serious about the country, because I believe he's giving the youth a chance. Because when you watch the appointment, you can realize, oh, okay, the names, the age range is futuristic. So I believe it's positive.
So far, in terms of their age, perfect. The only thing that I hope that the age will go with competence. You see, it is not always the case that the mere fact that the person is young will be able to perform. We have very young ones who don't know their left from right, just like adults or elderly people who do not know their left from right. So being young is one thing, and being or having the ability to perform is another thing. It's a good thing. Elsewhere, young ones are made to learn at tender age from people who are occupying positions. It does not seem to be the case here. We need to learn, and I believe that those that have been given the opportunity must take a cue to encourage future appointees.
I mean, the appointees are also quite young, which is a good thing, but they're not really young and not informed, because most of them are persons who had worked in the previous administration, and so they have some knowledge that they bring to the table or to the positions. To the extent that they are mostly young, it's also very revealing. I mean, look at the Central Regional Minister. He is 34 years. The guy has used a lot of wisdom and he speaks well. I think people like that, if they are practical enough, just as they are knowledgeable, it would go far.
President Mahama was fully aware of the task ahead. You could see, of course, that having taken power, you see more than you could see when you were in opposition. But he's been very, very clear that you don't need a legion of ministers to get the job done. And when he inaugurated the third batch of ministers, he made it clear that there's no correlation between a large government and delivery. Because we saw it in the previous administration. At some point, we had 125 ministers. And yet, that was a period where some of the biggest problems this country has ever faced in all sectors occurred.
The agenda to reset Ghana is on course. Committees in charge of reviewing the constitution, education, assessing the state of the economy, investigating election-related killings, and the implementation of other flagship programs have begun work.
For me, I think the consultative approach is very important. You need to engage, you need to listen, and then try and go through the information, try to process the information you receive, and then consult your internal management and see how you further engage. So for me, it's a positive step. I remember the case of Senchi, for instance. I was in the helm of Senchi with Dr. Dwabo Ase and all the key people, the governors of the Central Bank, Ministry of Finance, Honorable Pepe, and the Vice President of what he championed, may his soul rest in peace. So I think this is, for me, a step in the right direction.
I think it's very smart, okay? A ruler, a governor who is consultative is likely to pick off the best heads. So I really like the consultative approach that he's bringing to governance, issues around the economy, education, the Constitutional Review Committee, and so on and so forth. And so that approach to me is a very good one. The only thing you need to make sure is that these committees do not turn into conumtees.
This government will not tolerate arrogance or disrespect for the people who elected us into office.
The 120-day social contract remains a huge task. President Mahama needs the buy-in of Ghanaians. That will depend on the guarantees from his actions.
Them is the hope we need. He's the hope. He's the hope for Mother Ghana.
Welcome back. I'm still your host, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., the Chief Crusader Against Corruption here in Ghana. And this was to refresh your memory on what we were promised and what we are expecting. As I indicated, today is 30 days out of the 120 days that we were told. A number of things were going to happen. Of course, we still have 90 more days, but remember, and that is why we'll not wait till the 120 days before we start scrutinizing. I was going through some of the things that has been, executed so far as part of the 120 days promises and policies that were exhibited to us. So the last I remember mentioning had to do with presented formal request to the IGP for investigations and reports on death during the 2020 and 2024 elections, and that has also been done. The John Mahama administration, or led administration, has halted sale of state lands and requests to Lands Commission for submission of detailed reports on state land purchases. That has also been done. He has reversed seeming culture of silence with directive to CHAS to highlight challenges associated with implementation of the free senior high school program. And this is something that is so dear to my heart because I directly and indirectly knew some individuals who were affected, headmasters and mistresses that were affected just because they expressed their opinions on the implementation of the free SHS and the challenges that they were going through. Some were demoted, some were transferred to other places. And I mean, it just did not make any sense. Absolutely made no sense if indeed we were living in a democratic dispensation. And two people readily comes into my mind. The first one was the then headmaster of La Presec. He was actually penalized for making certain factual expressions. The Akufo-Addo administration just could not tolerate the fact that someone, a headmaster, will come and speak facts and truth. He just didn't want that to happen. The other one is the former headmistress of Ebri Girls. She was actually interdicted and was demoted or penalized for just expressing her views and for ensuring that, within her own, powers and jurisdiction, she wanted the best for the kids then. But just because the Akufo-Addo government thought that it wasn't something that was going to, give that unnecessary, praises, unfactual praises, because he thought he wasn't getting that praises that he wanted. He decided to, penalize the woman. Well, today actually is her. So she was demoted, and today she's going on a pension, actually, as we speak. Today was her last day. And so, yeah, I remember this very well. Fortunately, this government, within 30 days, has reversed this. And if you looked at the video, there was one person who was talking about, a woman, she was actually talking about the air of freedom that she is experiencing. And for her, that is more than enough. And I believe there's a lot of Ghanaians who also have the same position. So that was it. I mean, that is it. The other one is he nominated ministers in record time, and that was the first 14 days he nominated his ministers. I think something that has not happened, especially in this Fourth Republic. It has never happened. And so this is indeed a record one that he did. He reduced the Hajj fares from 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis per person. There wasn't any excuse of Russia-Ukraine war. There wasn't any excuse of COVID. He said he would do it, and he has done it. The other one, he has instituted National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving service. It was also part of it. Allocated foods stored at warehouses in Tema to various senior high schools to address feeding challenges. He has also halted the use of public funds for the National Cathedral project. He has tightened surveillance at markets and directives to the National the Ghana National Fire Service to locate fire tenders close to all markets. He has done that. He donated 1 million Ghana cedis to victims of the recent Kantamanto fire. He has, and this is so dear to my heart because I have a lot of godfathers in that region, and I really knew what was happening there. So he has united the chiefs of the Western region chiefs after 5 years of a divided House of Chiefs. And as we speak today, my own board member, my own father, my own mentor, Nana Kwabena Inkitia, the fifth, he is the the president of the Western Regional House of Chiefs. And this is solid. For the past 5 years, we could not do such a thing. And so this has been done within the first 30 days of the new president's administration. The other one, again, which is so dear to my heart, and I believe my own brother, Dr. Daniel Appiah of University of Ghana, will be so happy about, because it's something that the two of us have been talking so much about. And I'm making reference to he being able to constitute the Constitution Review Committee to review the 1992 Constitution. It is something that is so much dear. And finally, so far, he has been able to form the Oral Preparatory Committee to gather evidence for further action. He formed it. And today, as we speak, officially, the works of the oral team has come to an end. And they were able to present their findings to the president today. The president forwarded it to the Attorney General for the necessary action to be taken. And for me, if you look at the summary as was given by the head of the oral team during the presentation, it is so refreshing. First off, the number of calls that they received, over 2,000 calls, individuals indicating and telling them or giving them information. It suggests clearly to me, and as I've said always, that in fighting corruption, there are three things you need. You need the institutions, you need the laws, that's the anti-corruption institutions, the anti-corruption laws, and the other thing that you need has to do with leadership. Over the past years, particularly the past 8 years, under His Excellency Akufo-Addo's administration, one thing that we were lacking as a nation had to do with leadership in terms of fighting corruption. And Akufo-Addo, His Excellency, failed us woefully. And I have said it so many times, and I keep saying that the worst president we've had in this Fourth Republic, as far as nepotism is concerned, has to do with the Akufo-Addo government and the Akufo-Addo, His Excellency himself. So I wasn't surprised that within this short period, the oral team was able to give this documentation that they presented today. It was just because even the ordinary citizens realized that we now have a leader who is committed to the fight against corruption. And they also realized that because the leader was backing the oral team, it meant that there was, to a large extent, some level of confidence in that team. And that is why people were eager to give information. The only thing I'm praying is that, you see, when you want to retrieve money that comes as a result of corrupt practices and deeds, you must obviously take it to court. And in taking it to court, you should be able to establish two things: the intention and the action. And that is why it has been submitted to the Attorney General to do the necessary investigation, submit same to court, for court to rule on the various cases that we have or that the oral team presented. I am praying and hoping that the Attorney General will do a proper and a good work. He will not be presenting cases to courts for the court to be throwing the cases away, as we saw or we've been seeing under the office of the special prosecutor led by Mr. Kisei Jabin, where we will take cases to court, and then whether it wasn't as a result of it, they not preparing very well or not gathering enough evidence, the case will end up becoming foolish cases. I pray that where we have gotten to, after the report being given, Attorney General would take his time, his department or office or ministry would take its time, do thorough investigation, present the cases to court and ensure that justice is given, not to the NDC government, not to His Excellency John Mahama, but justice is given to the people of Ghana. And that is the only way we will continue to build that confidence that we have started building in the citizens, where now talking of matters of corruption, everyone seems to be so much interested in. And so if you look at it, in summary, you realize that these are the things that the government has done. And as I promised you earlier, you are going to be my guests this evening. And so any moment from now, the phone lines will be activated for you to share your views, your comments on what has happened so far. 30 days into office, this is what has happened so far. Are you impressed? Do you think we're on the right path? Look at the appointment that has taken place, the oral team that has been put in place, all the things that I have been able to take you through. Are you impressed? Are you sure that we're on the right path? The phone lines are activated and the numbers are what you see on the screen. Whilst we wait for the callers, let me quickly take you through some of the comments and messages that have come. This one says, good evening, Mr. Wilson. Good evening, Mr. Wilson Emmanuel. Politics and beyond. Politics today became disgrace to our, okay, the wordings are not so clear, to our country, Ghana, through NPP government, who just left office. I hope NDC government will bring development in our country, Ghana. NPP government has nothing to offer Ghana. NPP government will never come back again. All right, that's fine. Mr. Wilson, I think His Excellency John Mahama has done well so far for the first 1 month. However, he's got a lot more to do on employment. 24-hour is expedient, and I agree with you. Welcome to Politics and Beyond. May I know who is on the line?
Please, good evening. My name is Baba, calling from Bolgatanga, capital of the Upper East region.
Baba, welcome. Let's hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Ghanaians, we are forever grateful to the NDC. NDC is a parent, and NDC has come to reset Ghana. And the promises that NDC told Ghanaians, we have started seeing them materialize. Aruna Idrisu becoming education minister, he went to the universities. We have seen the reduction of their rent. Tamjo is saying he will see to it that social media users will have a sigh of relief. They will, you see to it that they will reduce the data prices. NDC, Ghanaians know that NDC is the party that has come to stay. Because always told us that if you do our work well, NDC will forever win every election in Ghana. Which really we've seen that President Mahama, the nation builder, is putting things on the right track. Next year by now, the KK that the FPP are asking that they want to see it at the 2 cities. We just send it to 7 cities and 10 cities, depending on where you are buying. Food will be abundant, and Ghanaians will get food, will eat. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you so much and good evening. My greetings and love to all individuals watching us from Bolgatanga. All right, so this one says, Mr. Wilson, I think His Excellency, okay, I've taken that one already. This one is from Musa Abattoir in Asawase. Hi, Musa. It's been a while. The utterances of some MPs, especially the micro-minority led by Afenyo Markin and Anodompre, are doing a great disservice to our political discourse. Ghana is a peaceful and culturally diverse nation, and our leaders must uphold these values rather than create unnecessary confusion for their selfish interests. Politics should be about progress, not division. They must remember that Ghanaians are watching and we will not allow reckless rhetoric to undermine our national unity. Very well. So, caller on the line, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Your name, please.
Yes, my name is Kojo. I'm calling from Achimemine.
All right. Did you say Kojo?
Please, can I speak to you?
Yes. Did you say your name is Kojo?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
My name I hope me share no my kosukana akoye se oba ye be me fa to bosumi ba ko na ye se you be be 10 years bosumi ba ko penu I say be 10 years no when be the man there na say be say for abama no say omo modien na ade biara ehita this is biara amafo alutu yes no ala ude to am ye no bi am na so odidi se kan go what the mine the pay yes no manin to ne agbedi biara ti ko bia ku tia no yes na da woman anything you feel so ade ko abadema on this is telling na human waye in tan na o moye na ya kwa ho chindo de ya bre ba ti skip de mi afoto aba
Mati Kojome Sume Dawase Pa Michia Omo Oni Omo Shenyina. In fact, Musa Abatwa, I agree absolutely with you on your message that came, particularly with Anodompre, and I'm struggling to even add the title honorable to it, because you see, it is only in Ghana that positions gives you titles. In other serious jurisdictions, you earn it. Your actions and inactions is what will confer on you the title. But, well, we call here in Ghana, the very moment you are elected, you become honorable. But I'll come back to that. Kola, you are welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Welcome to you. But your friend Jones, man, talking to Club, Mama says that I'm not saying.
In Bajasi Frozen.
Your friend Jones.
Jones, Kasa.
Yeah, the most. Maybe I'm sure. Mugabe Nebo, my see, Obio, I'm sure I'm Tanamada.
Medase.
My idea for Abaki, no more Bojima. Na dear my booting Kununa, Ghana Fonso, actually, or that, Panabesna, so 4 years in the year. I remember what another band the buoy. I'm sure on the Abba. Then, that's all to a papa and the man this year. Or my your manager at the end, Chicago door. You contain an name and in the noir. And the Saturday, National City, I discovered, the Selma. Almost so much as mamma. No one can come more money people. I want you a month for women to about the idea. The fair identify ball and then I hold the infamous. Now, only one man needs my dim wa. In the end, and so I didn't find kind of one in a pound for. Mamma find your money, yes, then could yes. Or my game, I found so my age man from one. Young fan could give my dear MBA and I told about your moment of woman. Yes, I moved yet. Sorry, I'm Canada. The better game on tea, I'm a Coswab with my ding at the above my man, or the chairman.
Yamin Shawns Jones, Medasepa. So, quickly on Anodompre. Honestly, I believe next week we'll dive a bit more into it, but I'm really surprised that to date, the IGP has not called Anodompre or even arrested Anodompre for the very, very, very careless statement that he made, which I don't want to repeat on my show here. Well, so, Mr. Wilson, please, our team have submitted their report. The president should proceed with no fear or favor. We, the well-meaning people of Ghana, are all behind him in this fight. And this is from Ablade Efiakuma Zongo Takrade. Kola, welcome to Politics and Beyond. Hello, Kola.
Hello, I'm Christian.
Christian.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead. Whether any of the local languages or English, anyone you are comfortable with, please go ahead.
I speak English.
Please go ahead, Christian.
We thank God for the life of John Dramani Mahama and his rescue mission he's coming to do. First of all, let me greet my one and only Honorable Stephen Afenyu from
Christian, there are lots of callers on the line, so you skip the greetings and go straight.
Okay.
Hello, Christian. Okay. All right, looks like we are struggling with Christian. So the next one says that I think, Mr. Wilson, I think His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has done well so far. For the first 1 month, however, he's got a lot more to do on employment. Okay, I think this is a repeated one. Mr. Wilson, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, is a visionary leader whose Allah has given knowledge and directives to governments to govern our motherland, Ghana. And this is from Ishmael
Hello?
in Kumasi. So, yes, caller on the line. Welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Hello?
Hi, welcome to Politics
Hi.
and Beyond. Your name?
My name is Jamila. I'm calling from Dansuman. I'm here to greet my president, John Dramani Mahama. Wherever he is, we say, may Allah bless you. Bye.
All right. No comment. Thank you. Thank you, Emilia. Bye. Mr. Watson, please, good evening. I am Shikabli John, a.k.a. Lampard, from Volta, inside Chiame in Keta Municipality. Our president is on track, and I believe and hope he will deliver to expectations and even more. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I think the president is on the right track. However, he should not backtrack on his promises and go back to former Mahama. Majority of Ghanaians can see new Mahama. That's far. And I pray he continue without succumbing to pressure within and without. And this is from Moses in Kwanta in Uti region. Mr. Wilson, this I've read. Mr. Wilson, your program has been educative since day one of the show. Thank you. President Mahama is on the right track. He needs selfless and dedicated people to accomplish his promises he made to Ghanaians. I'm Christian Ekwamoa from Odome Chala in the Uti region of Ghana. My regards to W1. Okay, thank you. This one says, Mr. Wilson,
hello.
President Mahama's 30 days in office. So far, so good. We are okay. My greetings to, all right, thank you for greetings, Abladi from Takrady. Caller, good evening and welcome to Politics and Beyond.
Good evening, Mr. Wilson.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Samuel Mensah Tobizo, Mikasa Free Kumasi.
Kumasi, Sami Mpachok Chiaso.
Okay. Sena, Omampani Mahama Shasi, no. Yenyan Pampa, Botanechi, Yenum Obe deliver. Obe research Ghana pa. Now my question is Dr. Baumiani and Nado Moahi.
Thank you so much, Sammy. So question the Aminya shows me to me, Yano. Right. So this one says the MPP should not waste our time by attempting to lecture the NDC on governance. After all, what was their scorecard on governance? We don't need lectures from abysmal performers who ran the economy to junk status. This is Asanko from Santa Maria. Mr. Wilson, the change we voted for is indeed a change of hope, liberation and freedom. In fact, Ghana is now witnessing the true second independence under the second coming of His Excellency John Mahama. Okay, you didn't add your name. Mr. Wilson, good evening. I think so far so good. The tension alone in the hearts of many Ghanaians has reduced, and I agree. And we are believing that the president will deliver to the best of Ghanaians. This is from Reverend Justice Aposa Sokode Gogame. Yes, Rev, I agree perfectly with you. At least the tension alone has reduced. It's a good thing. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. Please, the woman who used to do a Glow program, the late former President John Evans Atamil's time. Since MPP government came to power, she never did it. Now she's coming to start it. Okay, NDC government. Okay, Jackbo from Tamale, not so clear. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I salute you and entire XYZ personnel. President JM has promised Muslims a holiday. He has done it. He promised to reduce the Hajj fare. He has done it. We thank him very well, and may Allah bless him. Very well. You didn't add your name. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. I like your program so much. Thank you. Our president must look at it again. You can't have a criminal and chase for another criminal. Everyone behind unlawful activities must be dealt with. Okay, you didn't add your name. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. President Mahama is indeed a man of his words. At least His first 30 days of his presidency has been a profound honesty and perfection. I am confident that he will demonstrate high sense of duty to aid, diligence, discipline, and high moral tone in his governance. This is God Bless Aka from Nzima Elembele constituency. Right. Solomon Jagri from Kunsu Ahafo, Ano, Southwest. NPP wanted to finish the country. It is the grace of God that has rescued us. In fact, the Attorney General must fast-track the oral report. All right, you didn't add your name. Okay, you say you are Solomon. Solomon, okay. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. You are doing a wonderful job. God bless you. I am Parimond Kanu from Odome Chala in the Oti region of Ghana. I'm sure one of these days, Politics and Beyond will travel to Oti to go and have a program there, because it looks like there are a number of individuals who are keenly watching and following, and they are so active in it. We've taken the phone lines off because our time is up. So those who are still calling and sending messages that they are trying to call in, unfortunately, this is where we will want to end the phone lines. But your messages can still come in and it will be read for you. Now, a number of messages are still coming through, but I want to pause on the messages and then go back, particularly to one of the things that we talked about earlier, and I'm trying to retrieve it. It has to do with, yes, it has to do with the oral report. And there has been so many conversations surrounding the oral report over the past days. Yesterday, not yesterday, but Saturday, Friday, and even it has been so topical the whole of this week. And that has to do with the Attorney General. And it is important for us to caution the Attorney General. Within these 30 days, there's one thing that has also happened which didn't find space in here. And that has to do with the number of cases the Attorney General has dropped. Number of them. Unfortunately, the Attorney General has failed to tell us the reasons for dropping those cases. And you see, when you want to deal with corruption, what fuels corruption largely has to do with perception. And it looks like the perception being created as a result of what the Attorney General did is that he is letting go politically perceived cases. And individuals who are involved in those cases, politically, it is perceived also that they have a strong tie with the current administration or the current government. So the perception out there is that the Attorney General is beginning to choose and pick. It is not a good perception. We want the Attorney General to clearly come and tell the whole, the country, why those cases were dropped. Is it because of lack of evidence? What exactly is the reason? And if it is so, what about the other cases that are still pending? At least I know of Gregory Afoko's case and other cases that are still ongoing. Why is it that those cases have not been dropped? Why is it that the Democracy Hub also, those individuals who went on the demonstration, their cases have been dropped? What is the reason and what is amounting to that? Because you see, the reason why I'm bringing this in is the fact that if you want the citizen to have full confidence in the fact that you are committed to fighting corruption, then it is important for you to also manage perception. A perception out there is not very good. And if it continues, if the vacuum is still there, without the Attorney General coming to give us clearly the reasons for dropping those cases, and the perception that is out there grows, it will gradually, if not speedily, gradually, erase that public trust that the government, the current government, seems to be gathering when it comes to the fight against corruption. And that is very important. You need to create impression that you are not in to witch hunts. You need to create impression that irrespective of a political color that a person has on, when the person engages in corrupt practices. And by this, I'm not suggesting that those cases that have been dropped, the individuals involved have engaged in any corrupt practices. I'm not the court. I can't determine that. It is only the court. But it is very, very, very fair for the Attorney General not to leave the public in a vacuum, for the individuals to, generate their own perceptions. Because when you create wrong perceptions, it will come back and hit you the hardest. And that is the caution I'm giving to the Attorney General. And I'm saying this strongly because today you have received the reports from the oral group. Whilst you begin to prosecute or you investigate and take individuals involved to court, don't create a wrong impression that when it involves other groupings, you will arbitrarily decide to drop those cases. But when it involves another group of persons, you will pursue the case. You need the public to support you in this endeavor. Don't let the public have a bad impression or perception of what you are doing or what your office is doing. In fact, we've gone beyond our time. And so as I indicated that you are going to be the guest, I believe you have done that, and the messages keep coming, but unfortunately, we must end at a certain time. And yes, we've gone beyond our time, so we're going to end here. But only for me to remind you also that next week, we are going to continue with what we did last week, and that has to do with looking at parliaments, whether or not the parliament we are having is a parliament that is communicating any hope to us. And so, like Musa Abator's message that came, next week we'll have enough time to digest and talk about it. I will want to use this moment to wish one of my godfathers who celebrated his 70th birthday yesterday, and I'm making reference to Mr. Rex Dankwa. One great person Ghana has had, particularly in the field of sports, sports management and events planning and all that. He was actually the brain behind the program that we had, was it last year or late last 2 years? And I'm talking about the All African Games that Ghana hosted. He was actually the sole brain behind it. And so, Uncle Rex, I want to celebrate you this evening, and we pray that God himself will continue to bless you as you continue to guide us and give us the wisdom that you've always been giving to us. All too soon, this is where time will allow us to engage you. Next week by now, we will still be here. Next week, 8 p.m., we'll still be here to discuss. And as I said, this time we are going to concentrate a bit more on Parliament. We are going back to Parliament to see what is happening and to ask ourselves whether or not they are giving us any hope. So we meet again next week, same time, on your favorite platform, TV XYZ. I am still your host, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., and all I want to tell you is thank you so much for engaging with me. I believe we have learned one or two things, and we are going to transform the nation together. So we meet again next week here on TV XYZ at 8 p.m. All I can say for now is good night.